everybody. It's Karen with the Covenant Eyes podcast, and we are still in Utah at the world premiere of an amazing movie that you have heard about all week long. Brandon, This has been an incredible event.
It really has, and visiting with all the people who are involved with the film, Karen, especially the couple of gentlemen that we're going to visit with today, you can really tell this isn't just another movie. This is something that is close to their heart. As well it should be. What we're talking about is a difficult topic, but we need to bring awareness because, as the two gentlemen will talk about, awareness brings change.
Absolutely. Well, we're really excited to dive a little deeper, and we did get the chance to interview both of the guests at the red carpet event last night. However, we did not get to go as deep as we would have liked to with some of our questions. So Brandon, go ahead and introduce today's guest.
Yeah, so we're pleased to welcome, we have Rod Barr, who is one of the writers for the film Sound of Freedom, and then we also have Alejandro Monteverde, who is the director and also a writer. It's so great to sit down with both of you.
Well, it's great to be here.
Thank you for having us.
So when this interview goes out, this will be after the release of the film. Curious to know your thoughts about how everything has come together with the support, the crowdfunding, everything, to be able to bring this to hopefully thousands of theaters for an extended period of time across the nation.
Well, you said it, it's to create awareness. And for us, our tools is to use the power of cinema. And it's just from the beginning of this journey, it's been a journey that is very challenging because at the end we're making a movie. And it's had to take this difficult subject matter in a way that the audience can be entertained and digest this important subject, but also to enjoy a movie, because at the end we're using the art of storytelling through the lens, through the power of cinema.
And Angel is doing some really special things to get the word out, some things that, as far as I know, haven't really been done in the movie business. And I think it's going to change the way a lot of people think about movies and how movies can be marketed and distributed. So it's been really exciting to have a partner in Angel who really believes in getting this movie out and this message out. Because it's not an easy thing to do from a marketing point of view. So it took a partner like them to really make it happen.
Absolutely. The thing that really struck me in this film is that you were able to communicate such a powerful message in such a tasteful way, because it is such a hard topic. And I think this interview comes out after the movie has been released, so we're hoping that our audience has seen it and maybe seen it more than once and shared it with their church and their communities. But the scene that really moved me a lot, and I just want to talk a little bit about this, was the scene with the little girl in the bathtub. And I would just love to talk a little bit about how you guys were able to pull that together, because that was a really moving scene in the movie.
This guy knows everything about that. Yeah.
Well, one of the things that was challenging working with children, and I've worked with children in other films, but this was different because I was limited in how much I could tell them. Right. Normally when you work with an actor, you go really deep into what the character is feeling. Yes. So, but in that particular scene that you mentioned, her family, went to her and explained to her a little bit more into detail what happens to children when they get trafficked. So it really hit her heart, and those tears in the film were real tears, and it was very powerful, because for a kid to know what happens to other kids, it's different than for an adult to know what happens to kids. For us, when we find out what happens to these children, obviously we want to do something about it. But for a kid, it's like, what can they do? So there must be that feeling of
helplessness.
Helplessness, but also the sympathy that they have it's deeper because they're children themselves. Right. But she's an incredible actress. I mean, this movie was so blessed to have found her, because she was a pro, and it was a delight to work with her. She was right there in the present, but also very talented. And the other actor, it was his first film, His name is Luca. He playing Miguel, and it was his first film. And for him was also really interesting working with him because he had no experience, but he could cry on the spot. So that was
Wow.
that worked as well.
One of the things that's really interesting to me when it comes to films is how directors use camera shots. And what I really loved is there was an emphasis on the faces of the actors and actresses, specifically Jim Caviezel. He has a way to tell a story with his eyes that is unbelievable. Talk about how you used that to be able to tell this story.
Well, one of the important part of this film is for the audience to digest this, and I believe we listen with our eyes. And in this film, this is a battle between light and darkness. And we crafted in a way that every shot, that battle is always present. And if you look at it, the lighting is very stylized. It's always piercing the darkness. And it was very important for me to approach the story this way because I wanted to remind the audience that they were watching a movie, so they can digest it and go on the journey. So that was very important that, we created a language where lighting became the narrator in the story. So in many ways, yes, it's a hard subject matter, but, for all those that have seen the film, they know it's also an inspirational journey through this darkness. You leave the theater, in a state of reflection, but also inspired to talk about this and be part of the collective, movement that is happening to create this awareness, and awareness creates change.
And I'll just mention, because he's too modest to say it, I get to say it. Alejandro has an amazing ability to make paintings on the screen. And Alejandro works with Gorka, who's an amazing cinematographer. The two of them together are like a Caravaggio. They paint these beautiful things. And I know that that was one of the reasons. First of all, he does it, I think, naturally. I think it's his instinct to do that. But it really served a particular purpose in this movie, and as he was describing, that somehow the beauty, not just light-piercing darkness, but the beauty of the images allows people to access the message, to access the material. Because otherwise, if it were sort of a handheld, brutal thing, it'd be like, it's just too much. So it was very intentional and I think really, really beautiful.
As a writer, Rod, one of the things that I noticed about this film is that there is dialogue, but a lot of the scenery, a lot of the interaction between characters, even unspoken, is the way that the story is told. How did you work that into the script writing? Because it was years of script writing to try and make sure that all of this came together to not only tell Tim's story, but to create a movement so that when the film ends, it doesn't actually end, the movement begins.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, one of the things about screenwriting, Alejandro will agree, we're making a movie, so our main emphasis is like if we could do a whole movie with no dialogue, it would be a triumph, it'd be a victory. It would be the greatest screenwriting.
Yeah.
Like that is the goal, is when you have to use dialogue, which of course we do, then you do it, you try to make it as good as possible. But the real goal is just to use the picture, just to use the imagery. And if you can express what you need to express with actors and images and camera movement and actions, then you're using the medium in its best way. So, I think this movie does have beautiful moments where it's just images and characters. And that's really kind of what it's all about.
Yeah. Human interaction. Capturing that without dialogue, to me, it's especially in a movie, we listen with our eyes. Absolutely. So that's I think dialogue and sound should just complement what you're watching.
As we come to a close in our time together, what message would you want to leave for our listeners about digesting this movie and going forward and doing something with not just the story, but the information they've received about the atrocity of child trafficking?
Well, for me, for us, we're independent filmmakers, and the first message is we need their support. If we want to continue to make films that tackle difficult subject matters, we need the audience to come and show up and spread the word, so there is traction, and therefore we can continue to be on this journey. I mean, there's so many, you know, child trafficking is one of them, and it's, in my opinion, is one of the most important themes that as a society we need to face. But you know, we need the support. We need the, you know, the audiences to go out there and support this kind of movie.
I agree. And once the consciousness is raised about this topic, I think people will feel so strongly about it that they'll find a way to do something in their community, to tell somebody about it, just to get the word out, not just about the movie, but about the issue. Yeah. And I think if we can be a small part of what we hope is a tidal wave of change, yeah, it'd be amazing.
Absolutely. Well, thank you both for your time. We appreciate it. And thank you to all of our listeners for tuning in for this episode. And be sure, if you haven't checked out the film, to get your group together, get out there and take a look at this film. It's going to change your life, and it's certainly going to inspire you to take some next steps. Thank you, everybody. God bless.
Thank you.
Thank you.